Well, the best player I've played against has to be Michael Jordan, um, just because of the expectation each night that people will, I'm going to see Michael. What is he going to go for? 40? Is he going to score 50 tonight? Is he going to score 60? And he never let down, those people. He always came and put on a show. And while he was putting on a show, he's one of the hardest guys to guard. He can get to the basket, he can jump over you, he can shoot the jump shot, and he would let you know about it too. So he wasn't a guy who was quiet. He used to talk a little trash. Now when I say little, that's just putting it nicely, but he was probably the hardest to guard because he was on stage each night and he brought it. And you look at Kobe Bryant, he's right up there too. He's a guy who performs at a high level each time he takes the floor, and he's a guy that is hard to guard. And for me, it's always, those two are probably, the guys that I've seen the most or guarded the most. But the little guys, the guys who are super fast, those are the ones that I have the hardest problem with, because even though they might be shorter, they're faster, and as you get older, those are the ones that you can't stay in front of, and you just hope they miss. Well, I think my first time guarding him in Dallas, I was just a little nervous, and I think he could see that. So he came up to me and said, "Look, don't worry about it, kid. I like you, so I won't embarrass you tonight." So I said, "Oh, okay, great." So I said, "Well, what's embarrassment mean? 50? He said, "Oh, no, I'll take it easy on you." And so I was guarding him on the right box, and he did a spin move to the baseline, and I said, "Oh no, just don't dunk it." And then he jumped and he kept going, and he went on the other side of the basket and did a little reverse layup, and I said, "Oh, I'm glad he didn't dunk it." And he looked back at me and winked at me and said, "I told you I wasn't going to embarrass you."
LeBron is one of my good friends. I have so much respect for what he's doing now, what he's done, and what he would eventually do, because he's not done yet. If LeBron James end up the #1 scorer of all time, top 5 in assists and top 5 in rebounds, and have 4, 5, 6 championships, you cannot do nothing but have the conversation of who's the greatest of all time.
The conversation's already happening.
Well, the conversation's been happening, but it's not good. LeBron's still playing. It's hard to have that conversation about the greatest of all time when a man is still putting on his jersey. Right? But when he's done, his lineup, his statistical lineup is going to be the greatest that's ever played the game when it comes to scoring, assists, rebounds, so forth and so on. I come from a Jordan era. I am biased, and I'm going to be a bias to the day I pass away. Michael Jordan will be my GOAT.
I always loved you. I love you even more.
No, he would be my GOAT, but that doesn't mean I'm not taking anything away from LeBron. LeBron is amazing, but Michael Jordan is my GOAT. I play basketball because of Michael Jordan.
Yeah, but bro, y'all know how it is in the locker room. It's different. Like, y'all won championships together, and to me, this is the #1 question I had, because I see you on TNT, and I see you tweeting Instagram. Anytime the conversation come up, you're like, "He's my GOAT, MJ."
He's my GOAT.
But you got MJ, that's your teammate, that's your man. Y'all on the banana boat together. You know what I'm saying? So does that ever get awkward?
You gotta be super cool to get on a banana boat with other grown men. You gotta be really close. You gotta be really close.
That doesn't get awkward where it's like, you are publicly saying, "This is my GOAT," and everybody else in the world is talking about who's the GOAT.
Not for me. I think my thing is like, this is a real conversation, right? All of us have our own individual opinions. This has nothing to do with, like I said, once LeBron James is done playing this game of basketball, I'm definitely gonna tell my grandkids, kids, that I played with one of the greatest to play the game of basketball. He will be the GOAT for a lot of generations. I started playing the game because of Michael Jordan. He will be my GOAT until the day I pass away. It doesn't take anything away from LeBron. This is just like LeBron. We started playing, we envisioned playing like Michael Jordan. So for me, from Chicago, where I grew up, I made it out the hood because I seen a dude, number 23, play the game of basketball at a level that I was like, I just want to do some of that. So it doesn't take anything away from LeBron. LeBron will be the GOAT of this generation that has watched him grow up, just like we watched Michael Jordan kind of grow and go into what we call a GOAT. That's why I always say my GOAT. This is not personal. LeBron's my guy, but Jordan is my GOAT.
Does LeBron have to do something, or can he do something where you would go, now I would look at him as the best player?
No, I think he certainly, just off the cuff, he's certainly the top 5 of all time. But playing against him and MJ, I think for me it's MJ all day long, only because how I played against him, and MJ just had everything, from mid-range to three-point to post-up game, and he could score and dominate in each position. LeBron is dominant. LeBron could do so many things on the floor. And
do you think LeBron's a better all-around player than Jordan?
It's hard. That's hard to say because LeBron is probably one of the best passers that the league has seen. MJ is probably the weakest part of his game. He didn't pass a lot, but at the same time, MJ didn't have any other weaknesses in his game. And defensively, he was a two-way player. Defensively, he was incredible and just as dominant.
Well, I still look at LeBron, a better rebounder, better passer. Mike was not shooting a 3 back then. He would have developed into
He still could shoot it, though.
Yeah, but LeBron has turned into at least a dangerous 3-point shooter. Like you have to account for him when he takes those shots. But the personality, though, is, I think, the biggest difference. Because Mike wanted to kill you. Mm-hmm. Was he mean to you?
No, he wasn't. He actually killed me slowly. And yeah, he would comment to the coach, he's actually doing a great job out here. And meanwhile, he's pouring in 45.
Wait, he's talking to your coaches?
Yeah, I remember Chris Ford, he's yelling at me. Chris Ford's yelling the whole time. He's like, rookie, get in front of him. And I'm fronting him on the post, and MJ just kind of slowly glides across the floor, and he gets the ball and shakes and scores. And I did everything the game plan said, and then there's a break in action. We're sitting there, and Chris Ford is just down there just hammering me, and MJ was like, he's doing a great job, coach. He's actually doing a great job. Meanwhile, he's got 45 on the books. So I was like, yeah.
Did you think that Mike didn't want you taken out because he had 45 in the books? Like he wanted you to guard him?
No, I honestly believe that he didn't think that anybody could stop him. He could score whenever he wanted to score, wherever he wanted to score. So it didn't matter what I did out on the floor. He was going to get his touches. He was going to get his points.
More unstoppable, though, when they get that mindset, Michael or Kobe?
Certainly Michael.
Really?
Yeah.
Because Kobe put up 81.
Yeah, that was a bad Toronto defense at the time. I remember
it's still 81, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's a marvelous
He had 60
feat.
in his last game he played.
Yeah, it was a marvelous feat. It's hard to really compare the generations. If you look at what MJ did during his era, like I played in between both those eras, and the rules are totally different. Like you can't touch a guy now. A guy will go to the free throw line 20, 25 times a game just off of ticky-tack stuff.
But he used to, and Phil Jackson said this when he was promoting his book years ago. If Mike played today, he would average 45 in his prime.
Easy.
You believe that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's why it's, so much is made about the errors. It's just not a comparison. To compare what we do now, what's going on now, to what's happened in the 80s and the 90s.
I was an amazing defender.
Hardest player you had to defend?
And LeBron.
Early LeBron, too.
Well, actually, I think Jordan was the toughest, man. So Jordan, the reason I say
We're talking
Jordan,
about Wizards Jordan?
Shit, yeah. The first year was his Jordan, not his last year.
Yeah, no, because when he came back mid-season on the Wizards, he still had it.
Yeah, no,
he had like a 50-point game.
He was there for the whole season.
I thought he came back mid-season the first year.
He played 2.5 seasons with the Wizards. So the first year was mid-season. The next year was
you're right. That's
the
what I
next
mean.
year was the full season, and then that last year
was when things got rough.
He's averaged he was not Jordan, but that first year he came back, he averaged 25.
No, I remember.
People forget that.
People be forgetting. And
Jordan
that team
averaged
almost.
25.
I remember they had like a tear. I mean, it was like him and Rip Hamilton and like Jaleel White, and it was a rough team. I used to play with them on 2K all the time.
Yeah, they was not. I mean, but then Jordan's not running like he used to be.
Right.
So
even then, Jordan was tough to defend.
I mean, the thing about Jordan was you knew what he was going to do. You knew what he was going to do, and he gonna get you up. He gonna pull up, He gonna go left, pull up, go fade right. And you knew it was coming. We're like LeBron, when I first started guarding LeBron, I didn't really know what he was gonna do. And he was quite successful, but it was still like, it wasn't as predictable, which made it a little harder. But Jordan, I knew exactly what he gonna do. And then Kobe was pretty difficult too. I mean, those guys are. But if I had to give it to one, I would probably say Jordan. And maybe tied with LeBron and Kobe.
LeBron and Kobe. I mean, because were you with the Bulls when you had to defend Jordan?
I was with the Bulls and one time Indiana.
Oh wow, that's crazy. Like now I got to defend this guy. The whole city's fucking with him.
Can LeBron, is he allowed into the top 5?
Yes. And you and I have had this conversation many of times, and I was hard to do it. I was hard pressed to put him in there, but you have to. And I'm going to make an even stronger case. If the Cavs find a way to get to the finals, and if the Cavs find a way to beat Golden State or San Antonio, you can make a strong case. It may not be a good case, but you can make a strong case that he is knocking on the door of the GOAT.
Uh-oh.
I'm not saying he would ever pass him, but you can make a case for that. 6 straight times to the finals. Now, he hasn't won all of them, but it would be 7 straight times to the finals, and you would certainly assume if they won that he would be finals MVP. So that would be 4 finals MVP, correct?
But you can't be the greatest of all time if somebody's knocking on your door, can you?
I said you could make a case. I'm not saying it's a strong case, but you could make a case.
But then can you say he could be the 2nd greatest player of all time?
Numbers-wise, he's going to end up, if you just look at the numbers alone, you would have to say that. I'm not saying he is, because I will always side with Black Jesus. Don't get me wrong. Gone to the finals 6 times, 6 finals MVP, period. And it's the killer instinct that MJ had. I think LeBron's more of a pleaser, and he wants to get everyone involved, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're looking at the numbers alone, you can make a case.
And if Mike didn't take that vacation to baseball, would he have gone 8 for 8?
Well, I'll put it to you like this. And we talked about this. Name all the guys that he denied, Hall of Famers that he's denied championships. Myself,
Ewing,
Carl, John, Ewing, Chuck, Charles, all the guys that he denied championships. And you might want to throw in Hakeem Olajuwon if he's not batting a $197 and missing fly balls in the outfield. Hakeem Olajuwon may not have 2.
Man, he could have gone 8 for 8.
He could have gone 8 for 8.